You would think the biggest problem for Taylor Frankie Paul right now would be the resurfaced bodycam footage. But it is not, because behind the scenes, something much bigger may already be happening. Filming is reportedly paused, networks are suddenly quiet, and new allegations just surfaced at the worst possible time. And when you connect all of those things together, this starts to look less like one controversy and more like a turning point. Because this week, reports surfaced that Dakota allegedly contacted police again, this time tied to a 2024 incident that is now being reviewed by investigators. According to reports, authorities are currently trying to verify details and obtain a statement from Taylor. And while that alone would be enough to spark headlines, the timing is what really caught people's attention. Because almost immediately after that report dropped, the full 2023 body cam footage was released publicly.
The same ones right here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to ask you any questions.
You can ask me whatever you'd like.
Are you guys after an investigation? Is that what it is?
It's just follow-up to what happened the other night, right? So, obviously the incident that occurred, there was just some follow-up that the district attorney, who's ultimately this case goes to, they wanted us to come out and just grab one of these. So,
With that, I guess my address was on the internet, and that's allowed?
when it becomes public record, yeah, whenever there's a police incident, wherever it happens, once it gets taken.
And we don't release that.
Yeah, it's not us.
If you want to talk to Sergeant Jennings, he's our public information officer. His number is on that release.
Just don't they worry about the safety of the children when that's leaked?
No, I get it. I'm not going to disagree with you there, but it's just a matter of what's law and what isn't law. And people, when something becomes a public record, they have what's called a grandma request, and then they can fill that out and whatever information that is not part. They're not going to release your social, your phone number, that kind of stuff. But where the address occurred, that stuff will always be on there.
I don't know if you guys are familiar, if you're the people to talk to through this, but everything that happened and you guys do an investigation, so is that why the case hasn't been filed with the courts yet, or?
That's what, it hasn't been filed with the courts. When I said filed, it's with the courts, but it hasn't been pushed through to whatever the ultimate outcome of it is going to be. If they give you a court date, if they tell you what you're specifically going to be charged with, it hasn't quite hit that point.
Okay, so you guys do everything to kind of see where it hits.
We've screened the case with the DA's office, with this attorney. It's their job to decide what charges are filed, if they're filed, and then they'll send it to the court.
I know you guys kind of familiar with my case then, I assume?
Yeah, I'm the investigator on it.
Okay, so I know I saw in there that I was being charged with reckless child abuse. What is the difference between reckless child abuse and child abuse?
So child abuse, say your kid's mouthing off to you or something, young child, and you backhand them, which it's not wrong. You can physically discipline your child. Let's say you did it to the point that it gave them a bloody nose.
Sure.
That would be just child abuse. You intentionally applied physical force that caused an injury. A reckless thing would be say I'm angry and upset. I'm cleaning out my closet and I know my children are around and I chuck out a box of something and it hits my kid in the face and he ends up with a cut. That's the difference between reckless and just straight.
So I guess reckless sounds worse, but is that so
It's a lesser charge.
I was gonna say it's an
Well,
accident.
they're the same depending on their injury.
Because there's negligent, reckless, and
then just child abuse. And it depends on the level of injury, right? If you hit a kid and he gets a little scratch, that's just that could be a minor charge. But if you hit him and he gets a concussion or breaks a bone, that's obviously a higher charge.
And so I guess obviously me throwing the chair at my boyfriend, him deflecting it was an accident. She didn't have any injuries, I guess. Where does that, show child abuse, even though it was an accident? She had no injuries?
If you were to make the argument that there was child abuse in the moment, the item hit her, caused her to cry, and according to when we talked to family members afterwards, your daughter did have a little minor injury.
She did? Mm-hmm. Okay, because my mom said that she talked to the officer and they checked for that and she didn't, so have one.
Well, we didn't check because I think the officer at the time didn't realize that had happened.
Yeah.
This wasn't until later. So the officers didn't check. So we spoke to multiple people, not just your mom, and it was based on talking to a couple different people where we came to that determination.
Okay. So I guess even I don't know. I'm just freaking out because it was obviously like an accident. Do they take all that in consideration? And I'm sure they have footage of it since there was a video filmed. Do they take that in consideration that I wasn't like aiming for my daughter? And
Well, that's why it's reckless, right? That's why it's not just straight child abuse.
Okay.
I don't think anyone would, at least based on what I saw and what I read, no one's saying you intentionally hurt your child, but there were some actions that were reckless, right?
Yeah.
And she was there, and unfortunately was a victim of it.
And how do you usually see these cases going?
I can't give you that answer. I mean, they're so varied.
It'd be better to talk to the prosecutor.
Yeah, it'd be
or
something
your
like
lawyer,
that.
and talk to the prosecutor or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just freaking out. Just it's hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Well, I would just tell you. I mean, my advice to you is, stay in contact with your attorney. Don't realize that this isn't the end of the world. There's going to be some pain that comes along with it, but you'll get through it. Almost everybody that goes through this gets through it, and you have to pay consequences, whatever they could potentially be, right? But
And that
we'll get through
will
it.
aggravate the situation by having another incident.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, definitely will do
that
that
doesn't
makes it
look
worse.
great. So.
Yeah, and don't if you're given any orders to stay out of contact with certain people, even though it could hurt. Like you may be given an order not to contact your child for a while. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, just as hard as that is, you need to stick to it. Okay.
And honestly, that's a bigger charge than probably the child abuse.
Yeah.
That's probably Class A, which is, I mean, the
Absolutely.
child abuse is probably a B.
Yeah.
So it's, a B is like a maximum of 6 months in jail, or an A would be a maximum of a year in jail.
Okay. I thought I was charged with the felony now.
You are for
Yes.
assault, but I'm saying like the child abuse thing.
Is it B
Is
still?
a B. I believe that'd be a B.
Yeah. All your charges were B's except for the assault part. Okay.
It was a felony.
I believe.
Okay.
But that's something, like I said, stick to your attorney, talk to the prosecutor, see what can be worked out if you decide to go that route. But again, that's something to talk with them about.
Okay. And do you guys know how long these typically go? The investigations?
Well, our investigation, this is pretty much the last part of our investigation. It will go to I'll finish up and send it to the district attorney. They'll probably have it filed, I imagine, by the end of next week, which should say what you've specifically been charged with officially. And then from there, court dates will be set. And from there, depending on what route you and your attorney decide to go, it could take anywhere from months to years.
Really?
Yeah. I went to court on a case yesterday. It was 2 years old.
So with this, like, you guys looking at this, like, is it, I guess, like, is it super bad?
Is it super bad? Well, no one's dead, so I mean, it's not super bad, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not a good thing. Right? It's
know.
definitely not a good thing. But
Yeah.
we deal with things on a much higher level.
It's not life altering.
Yes.
It's not the end of your world. You will get past it, trust me.
That's what I was
Trust
trying
me.
to say earlier.
Like,
Yeah, this is not going to end your world.
I would use this as a really good learning lesson. If you need to get some help for any issues, get it. That's what this is going to turn into, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, this
But yeah,
is
the
not,
biggest thing is it's not the end of your world.
this is not going to be the end of anything. You'll move on from this.
I mean, if you think about it,
Everybody does.
everyone has bad moments in their lives. Sometimes they just get blown up to a point where, maybe police have to become involved. Sometimes they don't, right? But we all get to move past them if we choose to.
The
Did you
difference-
take in consideration everything that, like, happened to me, like, this year?
That will be all stuff that you can argue with the prosecutor.
Okay.
Okay?
I mean, the difference in your case, you're kind of a public figure.
I know.
So you're going to have to control that, right, and make sure it doesn't overwhelm you. And so use your support system. Try and Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to expect that. So that's what I mean. Use your support system. Try and ignore as much of the crap that's coming at you.
I'm wondering from, like, the prosecutor courts, do they treat me
No,
differently?
they're
'Cause,
pretty.
like,
I mean, I think we try and be as unbiased as we can, right? Like you're just another person in our system that is going through this ordeal. So
okay.
I can't imagine that. So
You obviously have a life that you can move on with. So all that stuff can be taken into consideration. But just our biggest thing is, like, don't be doing something to make it worse. Don't be making contact with people you're not supposed to. Don't be jumping online and spouting off, going crazy, doing things that the prosecutor will, like, see, she's exactly the person that we think she could
Or
potentially
imagine
be.
there's a jail release agreement
Yeah.
with your boyfriend, right? So that means you can't contact him, you can't go to his place, you can't,
Yeah.
Just abide by all the things that they give you to do. Look like the model citizen up until, you talk to a prosecutor and they decide where you're going to go with it.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Do you have any questions? I'm going to take one of these because that's what they asked for. I don't have a receipt. Do you have one?
I probably do.
If you do have one, I'll leave you with a receipt.
You know what usually happens with this thing? What you've seen?
What usually happens? Like I said, what usually happens is kind of hard to say because layouts so vary. Like it can be, you can talk to the prosecutor within a couple weeks and cut a deal and say, hey, this is what we'd like to see happen. And it could be in and out of your hair in the next couple months. Or your attorney may say they're doing something I don't think is right in this situation and say, maybe we should fight this. It's going to be ultimately up to you, but I say consult with your attorney a lot and what you are going to do with it. And you said you are moving from this location?
In May, yeah. So we're just gonna try to clean it up. That's my lease is up,
Okay. Gotcha.
but kind of a good thing if my internet or my address is everywhere.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
Well, people act really differently when they consume a lot of alcohol or those type of things. So, like you right now is not who you were in the video. I mean, you can tell. Like we said, you'll get through it. Okay, I don't think it's the end of the world.
That is though when you don't have your kids.
Well, you don't have them right now, but you're not going to not have them forever, right?
They don't know. They don't know.
I can tell you right now, you're not going to not have them forever.
There's a felony charge with a pretty big deal.
Well, you see people with much higher charges that still have their kids with them, okay? I mean, just... You have a plan on that? It's pretty much fine. It's barstool, okay? Do you have any other questions before we go? Okay.
What if those weren't for that?
Yeah, I mean that. Well, let the prosecutor can figure that out. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
And suddenly, the entire situation came back into focus. The footage shows police arriving at Taylor's home, separating her and Dakota, and trying to understand what happened. Taylor appears visibly intoxicated, while both sides give different accounts of the altercation. Dakota points out injuries, claims things escalated after picking her up from a girls' night, and explains that he tried to leave before the situation intensified. And what really struck viewers was how chaotic the situation looked. At one point, Taylor's child is visible in the home during the argument. Later, Dakota explains he moved closer to protect her when things escalated, though some viewers debated whether that was the right move. Either way, the footage sparked a new wave of backlash. But here is where things get complicated, because none of this was actually new. The 2023 incident had already been publicly reported. Some of that footage even made it into the first episode of Mormon Wives, which means production was aware of the situation long before the show even aired. So if this has been known since 2023, why is everything suddenly changing now? That is the question fans are starting to ask. Because now, in 2026, there are reports that Mormon Wives filming has been paused. And while there is no official confirmation about why, some cast members have hinted that new developments and concerns may be playing a role. And suddenly, the timing does not look like a coincidence anymore. Because just as filming uncertainty started circulating, Taylor's name also became tied to another major reality TV opportunity, The Bachelorette. At one point, rumors suggested Taylor Frankie Paul could be considered for the role. Some even claimed she was being seriously discussed behind the scenes. But now, that conversation appears to be shifting. Nick Viall recently weighed in, questioning how Taylor was even being considered in the first place. And while his comments sparked debate, they also highlighted something else: the growing hesitation around her involvement in major TV projects. And now, new rumors suggest ABC may be looking at completely different candidates instead, possibly moving away from the Mormon Wives connection entirely. And if that happens, it could signal something bigger. Because when networks start quietly stepping back, it usually means they are weighing risk. And right now, that is exactly what this situation is starting to look like. Because when you step back and look at everything together, the resurfaced footage, the new allegations, the filming pause rumors, and the Bachelorette uncertainty, it starts to feel like Taylor Frankie Paul is not just dealing with backlash anymore.
How did Taylor Frankie Paul ever get casted as the Bachelorette? I mean, it was literally my idea 3 months ago. I gave him the idea.
He is
I feel like
the source.
he's the source. Yeah.
I am the source.
Yeah.
You are welcome, Bachelor Nation. You're welcome, ABC.
It was like, this will save the franchise
Right.
if you guys want to do it.
You should.
She may be facing a turning point in her reality TV career, and fans are already noticing the shift. Some believe this is just another controversy that will pass. Others think this could seriously impact future opportunities. And with networks reportedly reconsidering things behind the scenes, the outcome is still very unclear. But one thing is certain. Just a few months ago, Taylor Frankie Paul looked like one of reality TV's biggest breakout stars. Now, her future suddenly looks a lot more uncertain. And with more developments still unfolding, this story might not be slowing down anytime soon. So the real question is this just another controversy? Or is this the moment everything changes for Taylor Frankie Paul? Let me know what you think.